The Atari 2600, packed with awesome games like Acid Trip or Communist Mutants from Space. But what if I told you of a secret other world, away from LSD and Red Scares? Well, then I'd be introducing you to the world of... That's right, Atari is action-packed full of wonderful little titles made with profit first and gameplay later. Though I'm a bit hasty, maybe it was an all... Well, Atari was popular for a reason, including classics like Asteroids, Centipede, and Pong, though it was made for the Magnavox Odyssey technically first, in a different version. I kinda stole it.
Though these titles reveled compared to the mighty Goliaths hiding in the dark.
Chuck Norris Super Kicks. That's right, in 1984, while Big Brother was watching, Chuck Norris was there to express the world with the power of video game punches. The game was made by Zonox, and I couldn't find any single source that cited when the license expired, but it did and got changed to Kung Fu Super Kicks. Oh, but they kept on the box since that didn't infringe. Compared to the others, this one doesn't control terrible, but it still isn't amazing. Sometimes you can't kick the enemies, and other times you can't hit them, but if you do manage to hit them, sometimes they just walk past. Then other times you might kick, but at that moment a ninja star is thrown, so redo the entire fight again, where you have to kick a guy 6 times. Oh, and then if you accidentally walk in the grass, your time goes from 5 minutes to 2 in a millisecond, so have fun with that one. This game gets 3 out of 5 toasters. Why toasters? Because I didn't want to use stars, and toasters just felt right. Moving on to Sesame Street's very own beloved mascot, Cookie Monster. Okay, I know we all know Atari isn't exactly modern, but credit where credit is due, because you can't play the damn game. I tried, dear viewer. I tried very hard to play this game. Though it came with an Atari Junior controller, which was meant for kids. But no, you can't just use a regular controller, so every emulator anywhere just won't run it. So the footage before you is from YouTube. One good thing was it was made by Gary Stark, who's an icon if for nothing else but a quote I found from Atari Compendium, that word, quoted as, "Konami was my last and worst game company. They were run, very poorly, by Japanese management from afar. I finally quit in frustration after only 6 months." Kojima's crying tears of joy from his BB container. I give Cookie Monster Munch 0 out of 5 toasters. It's probably good, but I spent too long just to get nothing. Next game, and that is of course Ghostbusters, which thankfully has much more information than previous titles on it, while being comparably so much worse. To play, you have to buy all your items, but the process isn't so easy. You see, games used to have a thing called a manual, and to play you needed this manual. Well, if you don't look at the manual and assume games work how they work, you're stuck on this screen trying to figure out why you can't leave the shop. One read over an online manual later, and we're fighting Ghost. No wonder they let him make 3 parts of some games. This man's a genius! At least he left behind a boy and his blob. Trouble on Blobalonia. 2 toasters. Our next game comes from the man himself, Kool-Aid Man, designed by Steve Tatsumi for Intellivision, which years later would have its name used to make this. The Amico Intellivision, the definition of a scam, made by Tommy Tallarico, who you can find more info on by watching this slightly long video about the lovely H-Bomber. Sorry for the rant, dear viewer, but I really hate Tommy Tallarico. Getting back to the point, what does our good Kool-Aid friend have to offer? 5 toasters. I really like the colors. Is it a bird? A plane? It's Spider-Man! Made by Laura Nikolic, who made Spider-Man and Frogger 2. 3 deep. Apparently she did make a Care Bear game, but according to AtariMania.com/FromHer, Parker Brothers wanted an action-oriented game, and literal bears who shoot lasers from their chests to defeat bad guys isn't action enough. Though there's plenty of action in Spider-Man. You can swing and collect criminals to get points, and then swing, then fall and keep failing at recovering from said fall. It's like Sisyphus and Dante's Inferno had a baby just to spite me. I don't know, I give it 3 toasters. As we near the end, our last game is Tron Deadly Disc. Made by Mattel, it was truly made by Don DeGlow and Steven Sense, and I couldn't bother to go on a rant about something funny about them, plus Steven Sense is credited only with this game, literally no more information online. Honestly, out of every game, this one was the only one that started easily, had understandable mechanics, and didn't give me a headache while playing it at 4 AM after an hour figuring out Cookie Monster Munch. So overall, 5 toasters. The Atari was a classic system, but going back to play these games is just not becoming as fun as video games become more expansive and portable. A kid today can play Last of Us on their phone through the cloud. 35 years ago, Game Boy was their best shot at being portable, so bygone are the generations who nostalgia trip on the roots of gaming. The Atari 2600 will stay a relic of gaming history, but that's how it should stay. A relic. It's a beautiful system of its time, and while the novelty of it is fun, no one goes, well, I have a printer, but why don't I use a printing press instead? It's just not feasible. Atari games will stay as they are, and hopefully they'll still be appreciated when flying cars and food fabricators are made in the next 5 years. But the world is crazy, so all we can do is look at them now and go, I sure love tennis!